Rock him a state. Rock him a state. Rock him a state. Follow the leader. 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 Rock him a state.
Yo, here we are, good people. What's going on? One thing I want to do right now is apologize for missing you guys on Friday. I do know you all are preparing for the chapter test on Tuesday, but not to worry. We are definitely going to go ahead and get it in right now with some chapter review. One of the things that I want to go over is everything that will be pertaining to the test. So let's get right to it. If you look on page 300, again, that's 300. One of the things that should be highlighted and marked in our textbooks is that male clients represent about 20% of the skincare clientele in spas and salons. And this percentage is expected to grow in the future. That will be found in the first paragraph on page 300. We have to remember, as barbers, we can always elevate our ticket and add extra charges for certain services that we give. In particular, with facials, we will focus on the basic scientific facial that only involves steam towels, cleansing cream, toner, and massage cream. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next paragraph on page 300, where the paragraph begins, a facial massage and treatment. You want to highlight the next sentence. When performed correctly, regularly scheduled facials can produce noticeable improvement in the client's skin, tone, texture, and appearance. One of the things that it will not, produce noticeable improvement is skin color. All right? Skin color. It will not do that. So you can put a footnote to the side of that particular paragraph. In addition to the noticeable improvement in the client's skin of tone, texture, and appearance, you could put on the side, not skin color. Let's remember that. Okay. Now let's jump down to the subdermal systems in facial massage. What we will highlight is the very first sentence in that paragraph. Nerves and arteries of the head, face, and neck are three of the subdermal systems associated with the performance of facial treatments. So if you're asked, what are the three subdermal systems, associated with the performance of, it will be nerves and arteries of the head, face, and neck. Okay, three subdermal systems. All right. Now, we do have to recognize the difference between muscles and nerves. Muscles are fibrous tissues. All right. Nerves are long white fibrous cords. And this is all found in the paragraph, okay? But in the first paragraph under subdermal systems. But moving on, we have to look here at the very last sentence in the first paragraph under subdermal systems. Arteries are elastic, muscular, thick-walled blood cells that transport blood under high pressure, okay? Let's highlight that. All right. Now, when we're talking about muscles and things of that nature, let's look at the stimulation of muscles. The things that would be able to stimulate muscles, we have to pay close attention to, whether we would want to know that or not. Okay. In particular, we know that, we know that muscle stimulants can be massage, whether with a hand massage or electric vibrator, electric currents, light rays, heat rays, moist heat, things of that nature. Okay, you could definitely make a notation of that. You will see something about muscular tissue may be stimulated with using all of the following, such as massage, electric current, and visible light rays. Okay? Now let's look over at page 301 real quick. We want to look at the muscles affected by massage. Now, one of the things that I do want to put out there right now is the location of the opneurosis, okay? And you must know the location of the opneurosis, and you see where it's pointed here in figure 13.1a. The opneurosis is found in the scalp. What we're going to see here and see also is the procerus. The procerus, let's look at figure 13.1b. We notice that it's right there at the bridge of the nose and coming right across there and smack dab in the middle. And what this does, the procerus, it causes wrinkles across the bridge of the nose. Okay, so one of the things that you can definitely make a notation in your book is location, bridge of the nose. Now let's look also at figure 13.1b, and we'll look at the corrugator. And you notice that that is on over the left eye of our figure here, and we notice that the location is the eyebrow. All of us should know that the corrugator affects the eyebrow. In particular, it gives us the ability to either frown or look surprised and things like that. Let's move back up real quick in reference figure 13.1a, the muscles of mastication. Muscles of mastication, you will find it being the temporalis and the masseter. Okay, the temporalis you will find in the cranial area, and the masseter. Okay, we do know that a mandible is the jawbone. Okay, let's not get that confused. Mandible is a bone. However, the masseter muscle jaw area as well. And the temporalis and masseter are actually muscles of masticated in the back of the neck. It also covers the back of the neck. This is one of the most common areas that we would actually massage if we were a massage therapist. One of the things that we do need to be aware of as barbers, this is a very tender area or somewhat tense area for a lot of individuals. We actually won't do a massage in this particular area. However, this is an area that we do have to be aware of in reference to the muscles affected by massage. Okay. So let's go on to page 302. And on 302, let's talk about the table 3.1, where we have the muscle, location, and function. Once again, let's look at opneuroses. Opneuroses is the fourth from the top. The location is in the scalp. And the function is that it is the tendon that connects the occipitalis and the frontalis. We should know that the occipitalis is found in the hindmost part of the head. That means the back. And then, of course, the frontalis is in the forehead area. Now, we're also going to look at the corrugator, which location, again, would be in the eyebrows. And the function, the text lets us know it is the muscle beneath the frontalis and the orbicularis oculi that draws the eyebrows down and in, producing vertical lines and causes jump down to procerus, which is right under corrugator. The location is the nose. And the function is that it covers the top of the nose, depresses the eyebrow, and causes wrinkles across the bridge of the nose. The other nasal muscles are small muscles around the nasal openings that contract and expand the opening of the nostrils. So that's. Let's look over to page 303. I want you to look at the fourth from the bottom, masseter and temporalis, which of course the location is considered mastication muscle. The function of those is that these muscles are the ones that coordinate in opening and closing the mouth, sometimes referred to as chewing muscle. Some of us may have discussed in class before where we knew an individual may have took a hit to the jaw in a fight or something like that. Usually, you know, when you go back to bite down on something, you hear that clicking sound. Of course, that means the mandible has shifted, but at the same time, we do have a little bit of that are trying to contract and release time. So we have a little bit of pain there, but enough of that. But the mastication muscles we should know are the masseter and the temporalis. Okay. Now let's look at the very last one, the trapezius, which is located in the neck and shoulders. And what this does, it allows the movement of the shoulders and covers the back of the neck. Now we do need to get familiar with everything that's in table 13.1 on both page 302 and 303. But in particular, we're going to look at opneuroses, corrugator, procerus, masseter, and temporalis, which are the mastication muscles, and the trapezius. Now, one of the things that we're going to do, of course, is turn our page to 304, and we're going to discuss the different nerves affected by facial massage. Now, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves in particular. Now, with these 12 pairs of cranial nerves, they are all connected to a part of the brain surface. And we need to underline that and highlight that because it's the first sentence in that paragraph on page 304. The most interest in particular that we are looking for when we're talking about facial and scalp treatments, 5th, 7th, 11th, cranial nerves. Okay? And one of the things about those 5th, 7th, and 11th cranial nerves, if we jump down to table 13.2, we see that the 5th would be considered the trifacial or trigeminal nerve. Both of these are one and the same. Trigeminal is just another word for trifacial, and vice versa. The type of nerve this is a sensory motor nerve. Now let's break down what sensory motor means. Sensory, we have to think of our 5 senses, so on and so forth. Okay, sensory that gives us the ability to feel and all that good stuff. And then of course with motor, that means movement. Sensory, senses, motor, movement. Do some word association with that. All right. Now when we're talking about the 12 cranial nerves, we're going to look at in particular, first, which would be the olfactory nerve. That is a sensory nerve, okay, and it controls the sense of smell. That's the very first cranial nerve that you will see there. And the third, let's look at third, which is the ocular motor nerve, and that is a motor nerve in particular, and it controls the motion of the eye. Okay. Once again, when we go back to sensory motor, we notice here that the olfactory nerve is a sensory, so it controls the sense of smell. That's one of our senses. When we look at the ocular motor nerve, it controls the motion of the eye. Remember I said sensory, senses, motor, motion, or movement. Okay? Now let's look again at the 5th cranial nerve, which is the trigeminal or the trifacial nerve, which is a sensory motor nerve, and it controls the sensation of the face, tongue, and teeth. Okay. Page 305, let's look over real quick. The 6th cranial nerve, the abducent nerve, which is a motor nerve, and this also controls motion of the eye. One of the things that I had brought to me was a question by one of the students that said, hey, well, Mr. Taylor, why are there so many nerves in the eye? Okay, well, we have a couple of things that go on with the eye in particular, and there's, I believe, a total of 4 to 5 nerves. You have 2 that control what it is that we see, and then of course you have 2 that control the movement of the eye. Okay, so such as the 2nd cranial nerve, the optic nerve, which is a sensory nerve that has the sense of sight. We also would have the ocular motor nerve, which controls the motion of the eye. You definitely have to have 2 different types of motion. You have the up and down and all the way around. All right, those are 2 different types of motion. And then at the same time, you still have 2 different divisions of sight. For those of us who may be nearsighted and farsighted, all of us who have 20/20 vision operate that to the fullest at the same time. Okay, not to go over your head, but just giving you a little jewel right there. Now, we just got through speaking about the 6th cranial nerve, which is the abducent motor nerve, and it controls the motion of the eye. Now let's look at the 7th cranial nerve. That would be the facial nerve, right? It is a sensory motor nerve, and it controls the motion of the face, scalp, neck, ear, and sections of the palate and the tongue. Okay. Now, for those of us who may not know what the palate is, that has everything to do with what we taste and how we taste. Okay. And everybody has something different in reference to that. Facial nerve, it is a sensory motor nerve, and just got through explaining to you guys what the palate was. But let's talk about the posterior auricular. Okay, now you want to highlight this in particular, and it affects the muscles behind the ears at the base of the skull. Okay, posterior auricular affects the muscles behind the ears at the base of the skull. Highlight that. Let's jump down to the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve or vagus nerve. This is also a sensory motor nerve, and the motion, and it controls the motion and sensations of the ear, pharynx, larynx, heart, lung, and esophagus. Okay. So overall, on pages 304 and 305 in our table 3-2, the cranial nerves affected by facial massage that you will be tested on would be the 1st cranial nerve, the olfactory nerve, sensory type. Sense of smell is what it controls. The 3rd cranial nerve, which is the ocular motor nerve. It is a motor nerve, and it controls the motion of the eye. The fifth cranial nerve, the trigeminal or trifacial nerve, which is a sensory motor nerve, and it controls the sensation of the face, tongue, and teeth. You have the sixth cranial nerve. We're looking at page 305 now. It is an abducent nerve. The name of it is an abducent nerve, and it is a motor nerve, and it controls the motion of the eye. The seventh cranial nerve would be the facial. The type of it is sensory motor. It controls the motion of the face, scalp, neck, and ear, and sections of the palate and tongue. In particular, for the facial nerve, we'll be looking at the posterior auricular, and that affects the muscles behind the ears at the base of the skull. And also, last but not least, on the facial nerve or cranial nerves would be the 10th cranial nerve, and that's the vagus nerve, which type would be sensory motor, and the motion and sensations of the ear, pharynx, and larynx, heart, lungs, and esophagus. Okay, you want to highlight all of that. Let's move on to page 306. Now, let's look at the cranial nerves affected by facial massage on table 313, or 13.3, I'm sorry. The nerve that we're going to talk about is the greater occipital nerve, of course, and I said that that's in the hindmost part of the head, and of course the location would say it's in the back of the head. The function is that it affects the scalp as far up as the top of the head. Okay. After we have highlighted that, we're going to move on into our next segment, which would be arteries affected by facial massage. All right. Let's remember, arteries are not veins. Arteries are not. Let's highlight the first sentence in this. An artery is a tubular thick wall elastic vessel that, like capillaries and veins, is part of the circulatory system. Okay? This transports blood from the heart to all parts of the body. Let's make sure we recognize that and highlight that. Study this material, okay? This definitely will help you with your exam. Let's look at the different arteries, okay? The common carotid arteries for the main source of blood supply to the head, face, and neck, located at the sides of the neck, okay? They have two different divisions in particular. You have your internal division and your external division. Look over that and you will find that on page 307. Once again, of course, we have the occipital artery, and that supplies the scalp and back up to the head. Now, since we were talking about arteries, we have to talk about veins. Okay, there are two veins in particular that we're going to be looking at, and those two principal veins would be the internal jugular vein and the external jugular vein. And what these veins do, they have the deoxygenated blood returning to the heart from the head, face, and neck, and flows on each side of the neck, okay, in these two particular veins. What you will highlight in your text, however, what I just read came from the first paragraph under veins affected by facial massage. You want to highlight two principal veins are the internal jugular and the external jugular, okay? All right. Now let's turn our pages real quick to page 308, and let's look, okay, at the top. One of the things I'm going to have you highlight is that we're starting at normal skin. Normal skin may receive soothing, mildly stimulating, or strongly stimulating massage treatments. Okay. Now this topic in particular is in reference to the theory of massage. All right. We know that normal skin can receive just about any type of massage treatments, okay? However, highlight this in the next sentence going over. Slightly inflamed skin could be further damaged by massage, and it requires gentle, soothing manipulations with no pressure or friction, okay? Now, one thing that I did state before is that if we are doing a massage, the pressure must be firm, okay? But when we are talking about facials, that's something totally different, all right? Because it states in our text, slightly inflamed skin could be further damaged by massage. So, of course, in this particular case, we would have to do as our text states and go with a gentle and soothing manipulation, all right, without the presence of pressure and friction. Let's look at the bullet points here under where a massage should never be recommended or employed when the following conditions are present, and that would be the acute inflammation of the skin, severe skin lesions, pus containing pimples, high blood pressure, and skin infections. One of the most important would be high blood pressure, because what massage does actually increases blood flow. Okay, and if you have an individual who already has a high blood pressure situation, they could possibly be at risk of a severe stroke and become definitely ill due to the service that we may have given them. So it's very, very important that you do a client consultation when they first come in. Record that information on the client record cards and all of that good stuff, because you want to make certain that your license is never in jeopardy. All right, and you want to cover all bases, and you want to maintain the proper health of your clients that you serve. Now let's look down at massage manipulations. Highlight the first sentence there. When massaging any part of the head, face, neck, any pressure employed should be applied in an upward direction. Upward. Reason for this, all right, it stimulates the muscles and it also increases the blood flow going in the proper direction, all right, because it comes from the bottom to the top, okay, and we want to continue that going to the top so it can go back down to the bottom, so on and so forth. Next paragraph, motor point. Highlight that. A motor point is a point on the skin over a muscle where pressure or stimulation will cause contraction of that muscle. Now let's get off into the different massage manipulations. Let's look on page 309. Some of us, we may have not been able to go over this, but I want you to go ahead and get you hold on to your pens and highlighters, because we're about to kick in a high gear real quick. Effleurage, all right, which you'll see it in bold. You want to highlight this. It is a light, continuous movement that should be applied in a slow and rhythmic manner over skin with no pressure. Okay, what you will see with effleurage, you can get a feel of that in figure 13.5. And now one of the things that they do also state, and you will highlight this, palms are used over large surfaces and the fingertips work the small surfaces, such as those around the eyes. You want to highlight that as well. Now let's jump down to pestrisage. Okay, pestrisage is more like kneading, and kneading, for any of us who are familiar with how individuals make pizza and whatnot, kneading the dough when they actually are palming the dough out before they put the rolling pin to it. Basically, that's what this is. Okay, you could see this in figure 13.7. It's slightly pinching and rolling of the palm with the fingers as well. You will see here in our text under pestrisage, highlight this. The skin and flesh are grabbed between the thumb and fingers. Highlight that right there. Now, one of the things that you will further read if you haven't read in the text is that they are gently squeezed, rolled, or pinched with light, firm pressure. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to start hacking at your people's faces, beating them up or whatnot. All right, let's do it with some professionalism and some real deal know-how. Okay, jump down to friction. Highlight that, the word friction. Okay, we know it's a deep rubbing movement in which pressure was applied on the skin while moving it over an underlying structure. And you also highlight the last sentence. Friction has been proven beneficial to the circulation and glandular activity of the skin. Next page, 310. Now let's talk about percussion or tapotement. Okay, one of the things with percussion, you can correlate that with tapping, something like the same as drums. Okay, not beating per se, just more so the movement and the tapping of that. It consists of short, quick tapping, slapping, or hacking movements. So a lot of the times, if you have ever been to the spa or you've received a facial or a professional massage, individuals that, doing the chopping or the slapping and things of that nature, this is what they are doing. They are doing manipulation called tapotement or percussion. So what you want to highlight is here in the first paragraph. This form of massage is the most stimulating and should be used with care and discretion. Okay, highlight most gentle of the three in facial massage. So In particular, when they say of the three, under percussion or tappement, there are three. It would be either short, quick tapping, slapping, or hacking movements. So they're letting us know that the tapping movements are the most gentle of the three. Now let's jump down to vibration. Vibration is a rapid shaking movement that can be performed with the fingertips or an electric massager. And I want you to circle electric massager. I can guarantee that you will see it on your exam. I'm going to talk about the physiological effects of massage. And what we are going to highlight there would be in the middle of the paragraph, where it states the part being massaged reacts with an increase such as more active circulation, secretion, nutrition. Let's talk about what this is really telling us. Where it says that the part being massaged reacts with an increase in its functional activities, more active circulation. We know that they're talking about blood. We know that they're talking about oil glands. We all should know the technical name for the oil glands too. I want you guys to know that those will be the sebaceous glands. Nutrition, definitely number one, and excretion. Okay, when they're talking about excretion, are they also talking about the one and the same with secretion? No, they are not. We are talking about perspiration. What we have to look at would be the beneficial results that may be obtained by proper massage include. Okay, fat cells are reduced. That's what you are going to highlight on the bullet points. And I want you to put a side note there that says benefit of massage. Now, let's get off into the text on page 311 where they're talking about the different massage manipulations. Before that, let's talk about the procedure number one. Everything is going to be in a circular motion, okay? It gives us the direction and where we would go. Of course, our supplies, we know we have to have towels, massage. We have to use a spatula in order to put that massage cream in our receptacle. Using the proper draping, and you got to have the head covering. Okay, for those of us that took the trip over to Dudley's Beauty College, and we were able to get some insight on the facial massage manipulations, Brother Lawson should be able to tell you all everything about that trip over there at Dudley's. He almost received a $175, almost $200 treatment over there. Okay, and they had it all filled out. Number four, procedure number four, where you would stroke the fingers upward along the sides of the nose. Okay, everything is going to go in an upward motion when we're talking about massaging, especially facial massage manipulations. Now turn the page over to 312. I'm going to look at number 9. You highlight that in particular, okay? You're going to stroke fingers above and below the lower jawbone from the chin to the ear. And you're going to manipulate the fingers from under the chin and neck to the back of the ears and up to the temples. I know a lot of us may not even know what that really looks like, but don't fret, okay? One of the things that I do want to do is have us do some hands-on things, and we can actually get our mannequins and practice some of this tomorrow. Now, let's look at equipment and application. I want you to jump all the way down under, in the paragraph under caution. We know that we also can use an electrical massager, and you can also highlight the same information and of what it shows us in figure. It does tell us to re-moisten the brush as needed during the process, but drier, oily skin types can tolerate a faster speed. That the rotary brush is not recommended for use on inflamed or acne-prone skin. Now let's jump down real quick to the first paragraph talking about steam towels. Now, they let us know that the steam towel or hot towel cabinets assure a ready supply of warm towels for facial services. However, we do have to prepare these towels. We do have a steam towel warmer or a towel warmer over at the Barber College behind our front desk. But one of the things that I do want us to get into the practice of is actually preparing our steam towels or assisting preparing and when you are willing to do so. Highlight this. To prepare steam towels, you would fold the towel lengthwise and then in half, and you run hot water over the towel. Highlight that right there. Of course, we would wring out the towel of excess water, and then we'll place the towel in the cabinet, right? But one of the things that I want us to get into doing, especially to promote positive skincare, we have to begin to take care of our clients. So it wouldn't be a bad idea if we hit our warm towels with a little bit of sea breeze or a little bit of witch hazel and letting them sit while they're waiting on our customers, okay, off of them. And not only that, we are reading over right now a facial. It's a pretty good thing that will take us a long way and show some professionalism to our clients, okay. Now let's jump down over here to steamers in the next paragraph. Look at the very last sentence here where it talks about steam also helps to oxygenate the skin, which can be beneficial for sinus and congestion conditions. Very true. I know that I have allergies. What I like to do is use a hot towel for myself. Sinuses. Not only that, the steam towel can also serve for individuals who suffer from ingrown hairs because we are able to open the pores and the hair stands erect after we do so, meaning the cuticle layer of the hair that is even on the face. Now let's look over to page 315. And what they're talking about here in particular are the different modalities. Okay, now the modalities, of course, what we should know at this point would be the Tesla high frequency, the galvanic machine, the faradic, and sinusoidal or sinusoidal current. Now, what we are looking at in particular would be found in on figure 1315, where they have the anode and the cathode. Okay. And we have to highlight what this is. A positive electrode, which is an anode, and that's the red. You can notice that in figure 1315. It's a red with a plus sign. And there's a negative electrode, which is called a cathode, and that is black with a minus sign. Okay. Now let's turn the page. Under the Tesla high frequency machine, what we have is the third paragraph, first sentence. Let's highlight that. What are the electrodes for high frequency machines made of? They are made of glass or metal. Highlight that. Now jump down to the caution. You see caution here? The Tesla high frequency current should not be used on clients. We're going to skip who are pregnant because none of the brothers should be pregnant. Okay? Even though some of us act like it sometimes, but that's a that's a whole nother thing. The Tesla high frequency current should not be used on clients who suffer from seizures or epilepsy. Okay, highlight that right there. Now we're going to skip page 317, skip page 318, and we are gonna begin to pick back up on page 3. Right? So flip over to page 320. And let's talk about the effects of light therapy. In particular, we're going to look at white light. Okay, that will be the third. And the beneficial effects of that. It relieves pain in the back and neck and shoulder. Produces some chemical and germicidal effects. It does relax the muscle. What do you think about it producing some chemical and germicidal effects? We'll discuss that later on as to can rectify that. Now jump over to page 323. Let's talk about preservative treatments. What preservative treatments does, it is the performance of correct cleansing. And the overall objective of preservative treatments, as it states in the text, it's intended to help maintain the health of facial skin. In order to achieve that, we have to have the correct cleansing. Not only correct cleansing, but we have to have massage. And now let's jump over real quick to page 324. We have skin types. Skin types. There are 4 basic skin types. Now, one of the things in reference to these skin types, the facial is dependent upon all of that. All right. We have to make certain that we are aware of that. We have dry skin, which is 1. We will have normal skin, which is 2. Combination skin, which is 3. And oily skin, which is 4. Now, combination skin is a mixture of both oily and dry skin in different areas of the face. Okay. When we're talking about, let's jump back up. Okay. Dry skin. It does not produce enough oil, which is why it is dry. Highlight that in your text. That's in the second paragraph there, first sentence. Next thing that you're going to highlight is that the objective of a face for dry skin is stimulation of oil production and protection of the skin surface. We're going to jump down, we're going to skip over normal skin, and we're going to look at combination skin. I want you to highlight the last sentence in it, that water-based products work best. So when they're talking about water-based products, of course, we're thinking about Neutrogena, Clean and Clear. Now, brothers, I don't want you to get, in a fret over that, but we all know at the end of the day, as far as Neutrogena and Clean and Clear, those type of products have a higher alcohol content that is not conducive to our skin in particular. But one of the things that you can definitely look to do is find different products that actually help you and not necessarily dry out your skin or give you blotches and dry patches and things of that nature. Because one of the things that we will find, those types of products, such as Oxy 10 pads and all of that, definitely is pretty harsh on our skin. Let's jump over to page 327. Okay, we're going to look at the different types of fresheners that we can use or toners. In particular, we're going to look at astringents. All right, so look at the top of the page of 327. Highlight this. Astringents may contain up to 35% alcohol and are used for oily and acne-prone skin. Now, when we're talking about astringents, one of the strongest astringents that would be on the market is a toner for Proactive. But we know that those are for individuals that have category 4 skin, 3 and 4 skin. Usually, a dermatologist would have to give the authority to an individual to use Proactive if they had a category 4 skin type. One of the things that we do have to be aware of is that when we do client consultations, we need to ask if they have had any acne in the past or any types of severe rashes or blemishes and things like that. They may think that you're trying to screen them and act as if you don't want to service them, but all you would need to do is just assure them you want to give them the absolute best service, and they really shouldn't have a problem with that. And it might even work off in getting an extra tip. Now I'll turn over to page 328. Okay, under paraffin wax. This specially prepared paraffin is melted at slightly more than body temperature before application. Now at 329, the basic facial, and this is what I was telling you that we would actually focus on. The basic facial, sometimes known as the scientific rest facial, is beneficial for its cleansing and stimulating action on the skin. And one of the things that we will do most often is the basic facial. Okay, it's called the scientific facial. And also jump down to the vibratory facial. Okay? Highlight the second sentence in this. Delicate areas around the nose and upper cheek require a special technique using both of the barber's hands. I want you to read on and look into that. All right. And look at the caution also on page 329. The vibrator should never be used when there is a known weakness of the heart or in cases of fever, abscesses, or skin inflammation. So once again, that goes back to the client consultation. That stuff. Page 330. Let's look at the basic facial procedure. Number one, of course, we're going to drape the client and engage in consultation. You see that right there. Let's jump over to number 4. And these things that I'm mentioning, you should definitely be highlighting. Number 4, look at the note. All products should be removed from their containers with a sanitized spatula to prevent contamination of the product. Do not dip your fingers into the containers. Now number 6, let's highlight that. You will remove the cleansing cream with a warm, damp towel. Okay. Now those towels that we were talking about that will come out the steamer with the sea breeze or witch hazel or whatever astringent that you would like to use, we would actually use that towards the end. And preferably during a facial, because you may do a little bit of exfoliating, you do not want to use sea breeze on the. Now look at page 331. I just want you to key in on the conditions to avoid. Okay? One thing in particular, the second bullet point: excessive or rough massage. You want to avoid that. Let's look at page 332. Massage movements with an electric massager. Okay. You want to key in on the number 1 and 2, where it states, adjust the massager on the right hand and place the fingertips on the left hands of the client left nostril. Okay, this is the special movement that they were talking about with using the vibrating massager. Or number 2, vibrate the skin with a few light up and down movements on the left side of the nose. Again, we're going to be testing on Tuesday, so you guys should be fine. All right. Number 7. Continue with a slow light stroke at the temple. We're on page 332 under mini procedure. You want to highlight number 1, number 2, and number 7. The vibratory facial. Highlight number 5. You're going to apply cleansing cream. And you're going to use stroking and rotary movements. And look at number 8 under vibratory facial on page 333. You're going to apply massage cream to the skin with the fingertips. Now let's look at page 335, the rolling cream facial. The facial treatment most often identified with the barbershop is the rolling cream facial. This facial treatment is designed to cleanse and stimulate the skin. Highlight that. And I want you to highlight number 2 under the procedure using rolling cream. Dampen the fingertips of both hands with water and spread the cream evenly over the face and neck with smooth stroking movements. Facial for dry skin. I like this. Dry skin is caused by an insufficient flow of sebum from the sebaceous glands. Alright, highlight that and that only. Now let's look at the procedure for infrared rays. I want you to highlight number 5. Apply lubricating oil or eye cream over and under the eyes. That's on page 336. And for the procedure with galvanic current, I want you to highlight number 5. Apply negative galvanic current for 5 to 7 minutes to open the pores. And then I want you to highlight number 7. Apply positive galvanic current for 4 to 6 minutes to close the pores. Current for 5 to 7 minutes to open the pores. The positive galvanic current for 4 to 6 minutes to close the pores. Now let's look at the procedure with indirect high frequency current. I want you to highlight number 8. Perform the manipulations using the indirect method of applying high frequency current for 7 to 10 minutes. One of these things that you will not do is use tapping movements, and you will not lift the hands from the client's skin because you will break the current if you do. Now let's turn to page 338. The facial for oily skin, highlight number 3. Place moistened eye pads on the client's eyes, then analyze the skin under a magnifying lamp. This is what actually was done for Brother Lawson when we were over at Dudley. Alright, now on the caution notes, you would want to highlight all of those, okay? Just to become aware of what that is as well. Look at page 339 under facial for acne. You're going to look here at number 7, and this is optional. It states, apply high frequency current with direct application over the affected area for up to 5 minutes. Now turn to 340, last but not least, using a hot oil mask. Alright, I want you to highlight what the hot oil mask can be used for, and that's in the first sentence. It states here that the hot oil mask can be used for extremely dry, parched, and scaly skin that is prevalent during dry, hot, or windy weather, aka Chicago. Alright, sometimes we have some dry heat, we definitely have that hot heat, and in the cold we definitely have that wind. Alright, so some of us may need to use a hot oil mask from time to time, but once again, let's go back to who we are and what we are. We probably won't have to use it as much unless, of course, we had category 2 or category 3 skin type. I want you to highlight this is the hot oil mask made with. I want you to put a highlight and marking over olive oil and castor oil. That is what they are made with. Alright, just so you know. Another thing that you can do is look here in reference to the spotlight on Leanne Keller, alright, who is the managing director of Menu Grooming Products. Alright, one of you guys that may come up with a product, this is an individual that you possibly could reach out to and see if she will be interested in some product selection for you, and you could possibly go make a lucrative business for any of your product. Clay, Brother Michael Clay, that came to speak with us, he actually got his start similar to that with some decent products, knocking on doors. You never know what things will go for you. Become creative, innovative. So that will wrap up this session right here. That was a quick review. It will prepare you for your exam on video over and over again until you got it, until you can almost memorize it, okay? Follow along with it in your textbook.